I want you to imagine a reality television show, but take away the polished editing.
Right, like no glossy production.
Exactly. Take away the weekly broadcast schedule, the guaranteed network salary, the craft services table, oh, and the HR department.
Yeah, that's a big one to take away.
It really is. Instead, imagine a world where every gasp, every heated argument, every thrown accusation literally deposits money into the cast's bank accounts in real time.
Like right as it happens.
Right as the tear falls.
Yeah.
The messier your life gets on camera, the more your screen just fills up with these virtual diamonds that literally pay your rent.
It's wild to even think about.
Welcome to the hidden economy of live streaming. I'm your host, and today in this deep dive, we are looking at a digital ecosystem where human trauma is literally converted into digital currency.
And to really understand it, we're looking through the lens of a former insider-turned-journalist, which is honestly the only way to tackle something this complex.
Yeah, you definitely can't just be a tourist in this world.
No, not at all. You can't just drop in and hope to understand the mechanics. So the journalist we're following today is Twana Yvette.
Right, from Couch Commentary.
Exactly. She operates the Couch Commentary platform. And she wrote this deeply analytical essay. It's titled Part 2, The Show and the System, How Low Can You Go? And the BIGO Live Economy.
Such a good title.
It really is. And what's so vital about Twana's perspective here is that she isn't just looking through the glass at this terrarium, She used to live inside it.
She actually knows how the sausage is made.
Right. She understands the pressure, she understands the interface, and throughout the piece, she is constantly wrestling with her own beliefs versus what she's actually witnessing on screen.
Now, if you, the listener, follow this space at all, you probably already know about the surface-level chaos surrounding the subjects of Twana's reporting. Madame Lowe and Hollywood Brienne.
Yeah, they're a trans couple who recently had a baby.
Right, and we've all seen the massive human drama that is played out in public with them, like the missing vlog that everyone was talking about.
Oh, yeah, and the infamous bear mace incident with Coco.
Yes, and the missing pregnancy documentation that just sparked endless debates online. Plus, these unasked questions about past struggles with addiction and violence.
And of course, the incredibly heavy paternity accusations. If you're plugged into this community, that drama is completely inescapable.
But today, we aren't here to litigate the gossip. We're not here to solve the mystery of the missing vlog. Our mission in this deep dive is to look at the invisible strings pulling the puppets.
We're looking at the stage itself.
Exactly. The stage this family is standing on.
Because if you just watch the arguments, you're missing the entire architectural structure that guarantees those arguments happen in the first place.
Right, it's baked into the design.
It is. If part one of Twana Yvette's reporting was about a family under a microscope, well, part 2, which we're dissecting today, is about the microscope itself.
The app.
Right, BIGO Live, and how its fundamental coding incentivizes, monetizes, and frankly demands this exact type of human volatility.
If you're listening to this on your commute right now, I just want you to think about your own workplace. Imagine if your boss's salary was directly tied to how loudly you argued with the receptionist in front of the customers.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Right. Imagine if your performance review was based on how many strangers threw digital coins at you while you cried.
It's completely dystopian.
But that is the baseline reality of BIGO Live. And that is why this matters, even if you have never downloaded the app in your life. This is like a masterclass in modern digital economics.
Yeah, it's about the weaponization of audience engagement. It's a terrifying preview of where the gig economy and the creator economy collide.
It forces a total reevaluation of the concept of authenticity, too. We have this lingering expectation that a live stream is, by definition, authentic, because it's live,
But Twana Yvette is showing us that when a software system heavily rewards emotional chaos, measuring the quote-unquote truth of what you're seeing becomes nearly impossible.
Because the system actively punishes calm, rational resolution.
Exactly. If you're calm, you don't get paid.
So, to really grasp this, we have to start by looking at the people on the screen. Twana does this brilliant, methodical breakdown of the cast of Madame Lowe's show, which is called How Low Can You Go?
And simply by identifying their roles, she completely reframes how you, the viewer, should be watching these streams.
Yeah, let's run through this roster, because it's fascinating. At the center, you have Madame Lowe. She is the creator, the boss, the hostess. She is a trans woman who has built this massive platform.
And surrounding her, you have this panel of co-hosts.
Right. You have famous Royce, a straight woman. You have Prince Jay, a gay man who has a boyfriend. You have Kitar Mitchell, who is a trans woman.
And Tawana actually makes a specific note here that Kitar and Lo are the only trans voices on this specific panel.
Which really changes the dynamic when certain topics come up, right?
Absolutely. It creates a very specific demographic isolation within the panel itself.
Mhm.
But, the roles get even more specialized.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, let's unpack this, because then there is someone literally named Receipt Queen.
I love that name so much.
It's incredible that this is a formalized job title. She is a straight woman whose entire role on the broadcast is gathering receipts, meaning screenshots, screen recordings, text messages.
She's like the prosecuting attorney.
Exactly. She asks the interrogating questions. And if there are no literal receipts to show, her job is to spin hypothetical scenarios just to keep the conversation and the conflict moving forward.
It's a highly specific role.
It really is. Then you have Manny, a gay man. And what's wild about Manny is that Tawana notes a moment where he actually had to excuse himself early from Lowe's broadcast so he could go do his own live stream battle.
Right, which they call a PK.
Yeah. And finally, you have Fam Go Natural, who isn't a co-host at all. She is an unpaid correspondent whose only compensation is exposure.
We really need to pause and look at that breakdown because it shatters the primary illusion of live streaming.
The illusion that it's just a hangout.
Exactly. The illusion is that you're watching a group of friends just hanging out on a group FaceTime call, naturally arguing about their lives.
But they're not.
No. Tawani Yvette is establishing the baseline reality here. This is a workplace. They are, for all intents and purposes, clocking in for a shift.
The power dynamic is entirely professional and ruthless.
Ruthless is the word. Every single person on that panel, with the exception of the unpaid correspondent, has their own platform, their own separate audience, and their own distinct income stream on BIGO Live.
So the way Tawana describes this panel, it reminds me of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, that's a great comparison.
Right. Think about it. Every single broadcaster on that panel has their own standalone franchise. Manny has his stream. Receipt Queen has hers.
But they team up.
Exactly. When they come together on how low can you go,
Yeah.
it's like they're assembling for an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
They team up on Lowe's panel to maximize their shared audience, cross-pollinate their fan bases, and basically boost their collective box office draw.
It is exactly like the MCU, but with a much darker, almost mercenary twist. I mean, imagine if Iron Man and Captain America only got paid if they genuinely tore each other apart emotionally on screen.
And the audience got to vote on who won with their wallets.
Yes. And just like in a major studio crossover, there is a very strict hierarchy. Lo is the hostess. It's her stage.
Right, you don't cross the boss.
Exactly. Tawana points out that while they might banter and have friction, no one truly challenges Lo's ultimate authority on the air.
Because if you want to keep your slot in this highly visible ensemble, you do not undermine the boss.
Kitar and Lo might have their own distinct identities and strong opinions, but when that camera is on, they maintain a professional, cordial support system. The tone isn't a free-for-all debate.
It's heavily managed.
Very heavily managed. It's designed to serve the host's brand.
Which completely shifts how you view the so-called drama.
Hmm?
I mean, if we understand this as a workplace, then these explosive arguments we see clipped on social media are essentially just boardroom disagreements.
Dressed up in the aesthetics of reality TV.
Exactly. The screaming matches are just aggressive staff meetings.
Right.
But Tawana notes that while the official co-hosts maintain this professional cordiality, there is one massive, glaring exception. There is this friction point that reveals the cracks in this workplace facade.
And it all centers around that unpaid correspondent, Fam Go Natural, and the co-host, Prince Jay.
Yes, and the mechanics of this friction are incredibly revealing about how internet culture functions. Fam Go Natural has a very specific segment on Madame Lo's show called the Discord Chronicles.
Which is such a fascinating dynamic. To understand this, you really have to understand that BIGO Live doesn't exist in a vacuum.
There's an entire secondary ecosystem.
Right. There are secondary platforms like Discord servers that act as a backstage VIP room. It's where the most dedicated, hardcore audience members gather to talk about the show while the show is actively happening.
So Fam Go Natural's job is to go into those Discord servers, read what the viewers are saying, gather the pictures they're posting, and present them live on the screen to the cast.
She is basically an ambassador for the audience's id. She brings those digital whispers right onto the main stage.
And Tawana's reporting highlights a very specific pattern here. If the audience in the Discord posts a picture or a comment critiquing Prince Jay, Fam Go Natural brings it to the broadcast.
She doesn't hold back.
Not at all. And whenever she does this, Prince Jay absolutely loses his mind. He lashes out at her instantly. It is a genuine, visceral, deeply angry reaction.
It breaks the professional cordiality completely.
It really does.
The philosophical concept at play here is it's the mirror. Fam Go Natural occupies a very strange, precarious position in this ecosystem.
Because she isn't a formal co-host.
All right, she isn't on the payroll, but she wields a terrifying amount of power because she is the conduit for the audience's perception. She holds up a mirror to the cast, showing them exactly what the viewers think of them in real time, completely unfiltered.
And sometimes that mirror reflects things they don't want to see.
Exactly. Insecurities or narratives the talent desperately wants to suppress.
But wait, I have to push back on this idea of her just being a passive mirror. I mean, if you are Fam Go Natural, and you know that a certain cast member like Prince Jay is going to explode.
Yeah.
If you read a specific mean comment from Discord,
Yeah.
and you consciously choose to read it anyway, are you just reflecting the audience? Or are you actively weaponizing the audience to generate content?
Oh, that is exactly the tension Twana is wrestling with in her reporting.
Because you know it's going to cause a fight. And the fight drives engagement.
Right. The line between reporting the audience's reaction and inciting a cast member's breakdown is practically non-existent. Fam Go Natural is tolerated on this panel despite not being a co-host because her segment drives crucial audience engagement.
Viewers want to feel powerful.
Exactly. When their obscure Discord comments are suddenly broadcast to thousands of people and cause a co-host to scream, it validates their participation. It makes the audience feel like they are directing the show.
It keeps them watching, and crucially keeps them gifting.
But that exact function makes Fam Go Natural incredibly dangerous to the talent. Prince Jay's explosive reaction proves that the illusion of a controlled environment completely collapses when your real-time reputation is being shredded live on air by a colleague.
By a colleague reading anonymous internet comments. It would be like having a coworker whose entire job description is to read your worst, most abusive performance reviews out loud in the middle of an all-hands staff meeting.
While your boss watches to see how you react.
Right. Of course there's going to be friction. But this localized tension between Prince Jay and Fam Go Natural on Lowe's stage is just like a microclimate.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Twana reveals that to understand the real danger of Fam Go Natural's position and the danger surrounding this entire show, we have to pull all the way back. We have to look at the broader geopolitical map of BIGO Live.
Geopolitical is precisely the correct framework. We are not talking about a few squabbling creators here.
Well, this is massive.
Twana's journalism reveals a sprawling ecosystem defined by strict alliances, bitter proxy wars, and deep-seated factional divides that dictate everything that happens on the app.
And at the absolute center of this map is a broadcaster named Supa, who holds the literal recognized title of the King of BIGO.
Like King of BIGO.
I am endlessly fascinated that an app has an actual monarchy. Like, what does it even mean to be the king of a live streaming app?
Well, it means total cultural and economic dominance. He was officially crowned last year, and he hosts a massively popular show called Gossip Girls.
So he has a huge reach.
Unbelievable reach. To give you a sense of his power,
Yeah.
he wields so much influence that when he calls a house meeting, the biggest, most profitable broadcasters on the entire app are expected to attend.
Wow. So he really is royalty.
Yes. His voice dictates the trends, the accepted narratives, and the politics of the platform. If you're on his good side, you make money. If you're exiled, your life gets very, very difficult.
And this is where the history of these relationships becomes critical to Twana's reporting. Because earlier this year, Madame Lowe and Supa the King used to be incredibly close.
Very close.
Lowe was even a co-host on his show, Gossip Girls. They were in the same royal court, so to speak. But they had this massive, explosive falling out.
And the intricate details of that rift are a whole other rabbit hole.
Right, but the resulting landscape is clear. Madame Lowe is now completely estranged from the king. She took her show, How Low Can You Go, and basically formed a rival camp. They are in a state of Cold War.
Which brings a highly volatile third party into the mix, Tommy K.
Oh, Comic K.
Right. Tommy K is a powerhouse broadcaster in her own right, and she currently co-hosts Gossip Girls alongside Supa, so she is firmly entrenched as the king's right hand.
She's the general of his army.
Exactly. Now, Tommy K has a vast, tangled network of real-life, deep-rooted issues with several other broadcasters across the app. She has a notoriously intense feud with a woman named Trina B, who hosts her own rival show called The Real of BIGO.
Okay, keeping track of all this.
I know, it's a lot. And crucially for our story, Tommy K has a long-standing, incredibly volatile beef with Fam Go Natural.
Let me make sure I have this straight. The same fam go natural who reads the Discord comments on Madame Lowe's show.
Exactly. And Twana adds another layer here. Fam Go Natural also does her Discord Chronicles segment on Trina B's show.
This is a powder keg. The webs are so tangled, it's a miracle the whole app doesn't just spontaneously combust. Let's just map this out for the listener really quick.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So you have Madame Lowe, who is operating a rogue state, exiled from King Supa. You have Tommy K, who is the king's loyal enforcer. And then you have Fam Go Natural and Trina B, who both have deep personal feuds with Tommy K, and they are cross-pollinating their audiences.
It's a web of alliances.
This isn't just internet drama. These are rival nations positioning their troops on the border.
And that geopolitical tension is what directly leads to the inciting incident of the massive controversy Twana is investigating. The powder keg finally exploded over a deeply personal, incredibly painful family issue.
The paternity accusation.
Yes, regarding Madame Lowe and Hollywood Brion's newborn baby.
And this is where Toronto's reporting forces you to look at the mechanics, rather than just the gossip. Because this paternity accusation didn't just bubble up from some random, anonymous internet troll leaving a mean comment.
It wasn't an accident.
No, it was a strategic strike. The accusation was brought directly to Madame Lowe's stage by a woman named Kayla. And Kayla wasn't alone. She was backed up directly by Tommy K.
Tommy K came to Lowe's broadcast wielding alleged screenshots, actively claiming that Hollywood Brion was lying about the baby.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the context changes everything we understand about this event.
Right. It really does. Twana Yvette is showing us with painstaking clarity that this is a proxy war.
Yeah.
I mean, the baby is a real human being. The familial trauma surrounding these accusations is very real and very painful. But the truth of this situation is being fought over by people who were sworn enemies long before this child was ever conceived.
It is exactly like Game of Thrones, but playing out on iPhones in portrait mode. You have these massive factions and a deeply personal family matter. The literal DNA of a newborn is being weaponized as a strategic strike in a digital war.
It's incredibly dark.
Let's just look at the players in that specific moment. Tommy K, who is the co-host for The King, is launching a devastating attack on the stage of the King's exiled rival, Madame Lowe.
And who is sitting on that stage, tasked with reading the audience's reactions to this attack?
Fam, go natural. The very woman Tommy K despises.
Exactly. And who is likely watching the clips and reacting on the third stage? Trina B, who hates Tommy K.
It is surreal and honestly deeply morbid that an infant is being used as a battering ram in a platform power struggle.
It is profoundly unsettling. And this is where Twana Yvette's personal wrestling comes into play. As a journalist observing this, you have to ask, what is the actual motivation of anyone involved here?
Right, because nobody's acting purely out of concern.
When Tommy K brings screenshots to the stage, is she seeking truth and justice? Or is she seeking leverage against a rival faction? When Fam Go Natural reads the reactions, is she trying to inform the panel or twist the knife?
And Twana's reporting answers these questions by pointing us away from the human emotions and directly toward the hard currency of the platform. Why go to war over a digital talk show?
Because the controversy is intrinsically mathematically linked to income.
Yes, the economics of chaos. This is the part of the deep dive that completely blew my mind. Twana breaks down the BeOnLive monetization pipeline, and we need to spend some real time on this because it explains every single behavior we've discussed so far.
It's the engine driving the whole thing.
Exactly. How does a screen translate into a dollar? It works like this. Viewers watch these streams, and the interface is covered in buttons allowing them to send virtual gifts.
And these aren't just little thumbs-up emojis.
No, they are elaborate, screen-dominating 3D animations. Hearts, roses, massive dragons flying across the screen.
But these gifts cost real money to purchase.
Yes, actual cash. When a viewer sends a dragon, that gift converts into an in-app currency called diamonds. The platform takes its cut, and the creator's account fills up with these diamonds.
And then it converts again.
Right. The diamonds then convert into another layer of currency called beans. And finally, the beans convert into real spendable cash in the creator's bank account.
Now, we have to ask why there are so many layers of conversion. I mean, why not just have the viewer send $5?
To mask the spending.
Exactly. The abstraction is entirely intentional. It's the casino chip psychological model. When a viewer buys a digital dragon, they don't feel like they are spending $50 of their hard-earned money.
You feel like they're playing a game.
Right. They're casting a spell, they are voting in an argument. The psychological friction of spending money is erased by the gamification of the interface. And on the creator side, they aren't begging for cash, they're asking for diamonds. It sanitizes the entire transaction.
But wait, it goes so much deeper than just passive tipping. Twana explains that this isn't just a digital tip jar where you hope people like your content. It is a highly structured, incredibly stressful corporate gig economy.
Very structured.
These major broadcasters aren't just independent contractors floating in the wind. Many of them are signed with official agencies that operate within the BIGO ecosystem.
Precisely. And these agencies, they do not care about the human cost. They care about metrics.
Right, numbers.
When a creator signs with an agency, they are placed into monthly tiers. They are assigned strict performance quotas. If you are supposed to hit 1 million beans in a month and you only hit 900,000, you don't just lose out on a little bit of money.
It could lose everything.
You might lose your tier status, your platform visibility gets throttled by the algorithm, and your baseline income absolutely plummets.
It's a high-pressure, boiler room sales job, but
Yeah.
the product you are selling is your own personal life, your own trauma, and your own privacy.
It really is.
Okay, let's unpack this. What happens if it's the 28th of the month? Your agency quota is looming, and you are short on your beans. You need drama to drive the algorithm, but maybe your life has been peaceful that week.
Right. What do you do?
Twana details this incredible concept called doing business. Can you explain how these creators manipulate the system to survive it?
Well, doing business is essentially a cooperative, closed-loop economy between rivals.
Okay.
If you are short on your quota, you might coordinate, often behind the scenes, with another broadcaster. You will literally trade massive, expensive virtual gifts back and forth.
Oh.
Like, you drop a dragon on my stream today, so I hit my tier, and I promise to drop a dragon on your stream next week when you need it. They are artificially inflating each other's metrics to satisfy the agency algorithms.
Like a Ponzi scheme built on digital clout.
Oh.
And Twana even mentions, though she is very careful as a journalist to say she isn't naming specific names here, that there are rampant rumors of self-gifting.
Oh.
Creators will literally take their own actual money, buy the BIGO currency, and send gifts to themselves on anonymous accounts just to hit their agency quota, hoping that maintaining their high-tier status will pay off in the long run. They are paying to keep their own lights on.
It sounds utterly exhausting. It is a treadmill that speeds up the faster you run. And in fact, this brings us back to Twana Yvette herself.
Right, her background.
She reveals in her reporting that she used to be a broadcaster operating within this exact agency model. She knows what it feels like to stare at that quota at the end of the month.
But she got out.
She did. She chose to leave it. She stepped away from what she calls the bean rush, which is such a brilliant term, to become an observant journalist. She left because she realized that the pressure of the quotas and the constant demand to escalate drama was simply consuming people. It destroys their mental health.
So let's tie this all back to Madame Lowe, Tommy K, and the paternity accusation. We had this massive conflict. We have a baby's identity being questioned on a live broadcast. If we look at this through the lens of the bean rush and agency quotas, how does that change what we are watching?
Well, it changes everything because it reveals that the platform mechanics actively demand escalation. Does resolving a conflict peacefully drive more gifts? Absolutely not.
Peace doesn't pay.
No, Drana makes it devastatingly clear. The messier the show gets, the higher the engagement. When Tommy K brings those screenshots, the audience rushes in. Higher engagement pushes the stream to the front page of the app, bringing in more viewers.
And more viewers mean more gifts.
More diamonds, more beans. Drama isn't a glitch on Belgo Live. It isn't an unfortunate side effect of human nature. Drama is the required fuel for the engine. If there is no fire, the engine stops running.
This is such a crucial point. The system itself is anti-resolution. If Madame Lowe and Tommy K were to handle this like healthy adults, if they sat down, had a calm, private conversation, looked at the medical documents, and resolved the paternity question peacefully, what happens?
The audience leaves. The Discord servers go completely quiet. The virtual dragons stop flying. The agencies don't get their cut, and the creators miss their quotas.
The system is perfectly designed so that the longer the mystery drags on, the more painful and drawn out the conflict becomes, the richer every single person involved gets.
Exactly.
The cast earns diamonds because people are tuning in to see their reactions. The accusers earn diamonds on their own channels because they are driving the narrative. Even the correspondent, Fam Go Natural, earns diamonds when she goes live later because she has the inside scoop from reading the Discord. Everyone profits off the bleeding.
And this is the most profound and disturbing insight in Tuana's essay. It creates an environment of perpetual skepticism.
Right, you can't believe what you see.
When financial survival is tethered directly to emotional volatility, the line between genuine distress and performative agony vanishes entirely.
So what does this all mean for us, the people watching? If you know that the platform literally pays someone more money when their life is falling apart on camera, can we trust a single tear we see?
Probably not.
Right. How do you know if an explosive argument between Prince Jay and Fam Go Natural is a genuine expression of anger or a calculated subconscious business decision to hit a monthly quota? It makes the entire concept of authenticity feel completely bankrupt.
You really can't untangle them. And the tragic part is that the broadcasters themselves might not even know where the performance ends and the real emotion begins anymore.
That's so sad.
When you spend 12 hours a day monetizing your own reactions, your brain rewires itself. You start viewing your own trauma as content. You start viewing your own family as cast members. It is a grueling, psychologically damaging way to exist.
It really is.
Yeah.
And honestly, looking at all of this, the factions, the manipulation, the weaponization of a baby, the endless hustle for beans, it would be so incredibly easy to just dismiss this entire ecosystem right here.
Just write it off entirely.
Yeah, to just close the app, write off BIGO Live as a toxic wasteland of manufactured drama and exploitation, and never think about it again. But Twana Yvette is too good a journalist and too deeply connected to this community to just leave it there.
She doesn't let us off the hook that easy.
No, she refuses to flatten the narrative. Instead, she provides this incredibly beautiful, almost jarring counter-narrative that proves real art and real vulnerable humanity can actually survive in this exact same space.
She does. Just when the reader is feeling completely cynical about the platform, she introduces a moment of pure, transcendent rebellion against the platform's mechanics.
It's such a great pivot in the essay.
And this moment centers on a broadcaster named Savannah. So Savannah is a trans woman who has a very deep history with Madame Lowe. They used to be best friends. In fact, they were so close they referred to each other as sisters.
Oh, wow.
They built their initial platforms together, supporting each other in a space that is often very hostile to trans women. But as Twana notes happens so frequently under the pressure of the app, the relationship eventually fractured.
The weight of the system just broke them apart. They became estranged. And Twana described this lingering, unresolved heartbreak between them. Savannah wanted to fight and air out the grievances. Lowe didn't want to fight, but maintained that she still loved Savannah.
It was this very real, very human standoff.
Now, in the normal BIGO ecosystem, this is prime real estate for monetization. And Supa, the king of BIGO, recognized that. He was supposed to step in and produce an official PK battle between Savannah and Madame Lowe.
Right, let's clarify exactly what that means in this context, because it's important. An official PK hosted by the king wouldn't be a conversation. It would be a sanctioned, highly publicized arena fight.
A bloodbath for views.
Exactly. It would be split-screen, antagonistic, with the king directing his massive audience to flood the room and throw money at whichever woman could hurl the best insults. It was designed to be a massive, monetized event exploiting their fractured sisterhood.
But for whatever reason, at the last minute, Supa canceled the event.
And that cancellation could have just been the end of it.
But instead, it sparked something genuinely remarkable. Instead of accepting the king's decree and going back to their separate corners, Savannah and Lowe did the unthinkable. They bypassed the entire power structure.
Isn't that rogue?
They ignored the king, they ignored the agencies, they ignored the platform politics, and they built their own unproduced, unsanctioned event.
And the way Twana Yvette describes this performance is simply stunning. It's honestly some of the best writing in the essay. She paints such a vivid, respectful picture of these two women taking control of their own image.
I loved reading this part.
Savannah showed up to the stream looking breathtaking. She was wearing an intricate Indian-style headdress with a diamond-studded nose ring connected by a chain running from her crown to her nose. Her makeup was flawless. And she didn't show up to yell, she showed up to perform.
She sang Toni Braxton.
Yeah.
And Madame Lowe matched her energy completely. Lowe performed Whitney Houston wearing this elegant skin tone brown dress with polka dots. Twana makes a point to say that visually, energetically, they looked like they belonged on a massive physical stage in Las Vegas with velvet curtains and spotlights. Not crammed into a phone screen with cheesy digital gift animations popping up over their faces.
What's fascinating here, and what Twana really wants the reader to grasp, is the complete and total absence of the usual platform mechanics during this broadcast.
Right.
During this unsanctioned PK, neither woman begged the audience for gifts. They didn't threaten to kick people out of the chat room if they didn't donate, which is a common tactic. They didn't engage in the combative, toxic banter that the algorithm usually demands.
They just performed.
They simply stood in their separate frames and performed these classic, heart-wrenching R&B songs about broken relationships, singing them directly to each other.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because of the overwhelming emotional contrast. Think about everything we just talked about for the last bit.
Yeah.
The backstabbing, the proxy wars, the agency quotas, the literal bear mace incidents from part 1 of the reporting.
Oh, that chaos.
After all of that absolute filth and chaos, these two trans women, who had been through the ringer of this app, took back their own narrative. They communicated a deeply complex message to each other, a message of, I am hurt, but I still love you, and maybe one day we can fix this. And they communicated it purely through art.
That's incredibly powerful.
They didn't need the king to mediate. They didn't need the Discord to validate them. For one brief moment, they beat the house.
And the audience's reaction is the most telling part of all of this. The audience recognized the raw authenticity of that moment instantly. Thousands of people tuned in to watch.
But it wasn't the usual vibe, right?
Yeah. No, it wasn't the frenzied, bloodthirsty engagement of a normal battle. Twana herself admits that people in her own Discord server, the exact same servers usually used to tear these creators down, were in tears.
Wow.
And Twana writes that she was crying right along with them. It was a profound collective release of tension. The audience had been so deeply conditioned to expect chaos, conflict, and screaming, and instead they were completely blindsided by vulnerability and genuine artistry.
It is such a powerful image. Two former sisters defying the algorithm and defying the gig economy just to sing love songs to each other across the digital void. And Twana makes a very specific point to say that this singular beautiful event isn't just some random anomaly or a glitch in the matrix.
No, it's actually evidence of a whole hidden layer within BIGO Live.
Yeah, Twana emphasizes that BIGO Live has a profound dual nature. The messy faction war side of the app gets 99% of the attention because conflict is loud. And conflict is what goes viral on Twitter and TikTok.
But sharing that exact same digital real estate, using the exact same interface, is a whole ecosystem of genuine artists. She highlights a broadcaster named Block as a prime example.
Yes, Block. I love this detail because it perfectly illustrates the absurdity of the platform. Twana mentions that Block is an actual trained actress. She auditioned to be a cast member on King Supa's Gossip Girl show, but she didn't make the cut.
And Twana's assessment of why she didn't make the cut is hilarious.
It really is. She essentially says Block probably didn't fit into the messy drama panel because she possesses actual genuine talent. Like, she doesn't need to argue to be entertaining. Block has her own show where she performs sketch comedy and plays characters. Like this ratchet news reporter that Twana says is genuinely hilarious and brilliant.
Block represents the untapped, often ignored potential of the platform. There are singers, musicians, comedians, and actors who are logging on every day trying to build something substantive and artistic.
They're trying to use it for actual entertainment.
Exactly. Twana notes that while the messy side dominates the overarching narrative of what BIGO is, the audience's tearful, overwhelming reaction to Savannah and Lo proves that there is a massive starving appetite for real performance. People actually want to be moved. They want to connect. They don't just want to be provoked into anger.
And realizing that completely reframes how we have to look at someone like Madame Lo, too. I want you, the listener, to really think about this for a second. Think about how often we, as a society, try to flatten public figures into these easily digestible, one-dimensional characters.
We desperately want them to fit into a neat box.
We really do.
Yeah.
They're either the pure, flawless hero or they're the irredeemable villain. But Twana Yvette's core thesis, drawn from her own wrestling with what she witnessed, is that human beings are profoundly, confusingly contradictory.
That is the ultimate, inescapable takeaway of her journalism here. Two completely opposing truths can and do exist at the exact same time within the same person. Madame Lo is the ruthless, calculating architect of a chaos-driven talk show. She is a boss who operates a panel designed to mine her own family's trauma and her rival's anger for virtual diamonds. And, simultaneously, in the exact same app, she is a transcendent, deeply wounded artist who can move thousands of cynical internet strangers to tears with a vulnerable Whitney Houston cover.
Both are true. Neither cancels the other out. They sit side by side, and they just don't resolve into a simple narrative. It is messy, it is beautiful, it is highly problematic, and it is undeniably human.
It requires the observer, whether that's Twana as a journalist or us as the audience, to hold a massive amount of cognitive dissonance. To understand that the system itself can be deeply exploitative, capitalistic, and cruel, and yet the people trapped within it can still find or forge moments of genuine grace.
And as we synthesize this journey we've been on today, we have really covered some incredible sprawling ground.
We really have.
We started by looking at what seemed like a single, albeit painful, piece of internet gossip, a paternity accusation about a baby. But by following 20 Yvette's reporting, we pulled back the curtain to uncover a massive, high-stakes, gig economy workplace that is just masquerading as a reality talk show.
We mapped out digital faction wars and proxy battle.
Right. We explored the psychology of the diamond-to-bean pipeline. We looked at how agencies demand emotional bleeding to hit quotas. And we witnessed a stunning, unsanctioned rebellion built on Toni Braxton and Whitney Houston.
But importantly, Twana doesn't neatly tie all of this up with a bow. She doesn't offer a simple moral conclusion. As a good journalist, she leaves us with open, unresolved questions that strike at the heart of this new digital reality.
Which are so important to consider.
She asks us to consider is how low can you go? A talk show, a support group, or a ruthless business? And she concludes it might be all three simultaneously, with the lines blurring and shifting every single time a virtual gift flies across the screen.
She also forces us to question the inciting incident itself.
Oh.
Does the faction war between Supa's camp and Lowe's camp actually have anything to do with the truth of that baby's paternity? Or is this child, this innocent life, just the latest convenient battlefield in a digital war for clout and beans that has been raging for a year?
It's a dark thought, and perhaps the most heartbreaking, fundamental question she leaves us with regarding the human subjects of her piece. If Lo and Savannah could somehow manage to build their own beautiful, authentic moment away from the platform's demands, can Lo and Hollywood Brian ever build a real, stable, functioning family in the real world when the app they rely on to pay for their very survival actively demands that their lives remain in chaos?
Can a family survive when peace means poverty?
Exactly. Or will the show always win?
It leaves you with so much to process about where entertainment is heading, and it brings us right back to the beginning. Imagine that reality show where the audience pays directly for the tears. Let me leave you with one final provocative thought to mull over.
Okay, lay it on us.
Throughout this deep dive, we've talked a lot about the creators. Talked about their factions, their manipulations, their agency quotas, and the platform mechanics they are subjected to. But what about us? What about the audience?
Oh, wow. Right.
If the underlying mechanics of these platforms are explicitly designed so that our attention, our anonymous Discord comments, and our purchases of virtual gifts are what literally fund the drama, are the creators really the ones manipulating the audience?
Or are we doing it?
Right. Are we, the viewers, sitting safely behind our screens, the ultimate puppet masters, dictating the exact amount of trauma they must endure for our entertainment?
It's a heavy, uncomfortable question. Because if our engagement pays their rent, then their chaos is our creation.
Something to think about the next time you tap into a live stream and feel the urge to send a diamond. Until next time.